Sir Isaac Newton was an English physicist, mathematician, astronomer, natural philosopher, alchemist, theologian, and writer who is widely recognized as one of the greatest mathematicians, physicists, and more influential scientists of all time. He was a follower of the heliocentrism and was a very influential scientist throughout history, even said to be the father of classical physics. We will find out how Newton thought, his background, and how hard he worked in his research. Isaac Newton was born on January 4, 1643 in Woolsthorpe by Colsterworth, England. His father, also named Isaac Newton, died 3 months before Newton was born. Newton was born prematurely. It was also reported that his mother, Hannah Ascough, once said that he could fit into a cup. When Newton was 3 years old, his mother remarried and left Newton under the care of his grandmother, Marjorie Ascough. Young Newton disliked his stepfather and harbored resentment toward his mother for marrying him, as revealed in his sin confession, threatening my father and mother Smith to burn them and the house over them. Newton started school while living with his grandmother in the village and then sent to a local language school in Grantham, where he eventually became the smartest kid in school. While attending school in Grantham, he lived a boarding house owned by a local pharmacist named William Clark. Before continuing his studies at Cambridge University at the age of 19, Newton had a love affair with William Clark's adopted sister, Anne Storr. As Newton focused on his studies, his love story became more uncertain, and Storr eventually married someone else. Many said that he, Newton, always remembered his love story, although it was never mentioned that Newton had a girlfriend or even married. From the age of 12 to 17 years, Newton received his education at the King's School located in Grantham. His family took Newton out of school on the grounds that he should become a farmer. However, Newton did not like his new job. The principal of King's School then convinced his mother to send Newton back to school so he could complete his education. Newton was able to finish school at the age of 18 with satisfactory grades.
In June 1661 year, Newton was accepted at Cambridge University Trinity College as a sitter or student studying while working. At the time, university teaching was based on the teachings of Aristotle. But Newton preferred to read the ideas of more advanced modern philosophers such as Descartes and astronomers such as Copernicus, Galileo, and Kepler. In 1665, he discovered the general binomial theorem and began developing a mathematical theory that eventually developed into calculus. Soon after, Newton received his degree in August 1665. Cambridge University was closed due to the Great Plague. Although his studies at Cambridge were mediocre, the private studies he conducted at his home in Woolsthorpe for 2 years encouraged him to develop the theory of calculus, optics, and the laws of gravity. In 1667, he returned to Cambridge as a lecturer at Trinity. Newton is generally recognized as the discoverer of the general binomial theorem, which applies to all exponents. He also discovered Newton's identity, Newton's method, classified cubic plane curves, made substantial contribution to finite difference theory, and was the first to use fractional powers and apply coordinate geometry to derive solution to the Diophantus equation. He was elected to the post of Lucasian Professor of Mathematics in 1669. Newton was a member of the English Parliament from 1689 to 1690 and in 1701. Newton moved to London to take up the position of supervisor of the Royal Mint in 1690. This appointment was intended as a light job, but Newton tried to treat it as a serious task and retired from his studies at Cambridge in 1701, and moved his powers to reform currency and punish counterfeiters and coin cutters.
In April 1705, Queen Anne made Newton a knight during a visit to Trinity College, Cambridge, so the name we know today is Sir Isaac Newton. Nearing the end of his life, Newton lived in Cranberry Park, near Winchester with his niece and her husband until his death in 1727. Newton died in his sleep in London on March 31 and was given a royal burial at Westminster Abbey. After his death, Newton's body was found to contain large amount of mercury, possibly as a result of his alchemical studies. Mercury poisoning may explain Newton's eccentricities at the end of his life. According to Newton's letter to Catherine Barton when his niece was recovering from smallpox, Newton, who remained single, distributed most of his possessions to his relatives in his final years and died without leaving a legacy.
Although his laws of motion and law of universal gravitation became Newton's most famous discoveries, he warned against using them to view the universe simply as a machine, like a large cloud. He said, "Gravity explains the motion of the planets, but it cannot explain who moved them in the first place. God controls all things, and now everything that is or can be done." Newton believed in an eminently rational world, but he rejected the Heliozoism implicit in the thought of Leibniz and Baruch Spinoza. An orderly and dynamically announced nature can be understood and should be understood with an active mind. In his correspondence, Newton claimed that in writing in the Principia, "I view these principles as a great work by considering humans for belief in God." He saw signs of design in the universe system. The amazing uniformity of planetary system must allow for the effect of choice. But Newton insisted that divine intervention will eventually be needed to restore the system because of the gradual growth of instability.